This is Maqbool Javed, who is now a successful lawyer in London. He married the sister of Sadiq Khan, who is Mayor of London, in 1989, and after 22 years they parted company. He is now the ex-brother-in-law of the Mayor of London. His name is listed as signatory to a fatwa in 1998 on the part of Mouhajiroun, which is now a banned Islamic organisation. He denies authorising his signature appearing here. Mouhajiroun, Muslims in Britain declare war against the US and British governments. We, the undersigned, confirm that the only Islamic fatwa against this explicit aggression is jihad. Therefore, the message for the US and British governments, or any other government of non-Muslim countries, is to stay away from Iraq, Palestine, Pakistan, Arabia, etc., or face a full-scale war of jihad, which will be the responsibility and the duty of every Muslim around the world to participate in. We, the undersigned, call upon the Muslims around the world, including the Muslims in the USA and in Britain, to confront by all means, whether verbally, financially, politically or militarily, the US and British aggression, and to do their Islamic duty in relieving the Iraqi people from the unjust sanctions. And his name appears at the top of the signatory list next to Omar Bakri, who was the big boss of Mouhajiroun. It's worth adding for authenticity that the fatwa is mentioned in this declassified FBI document. That's what I just read out there. As I said, he now says that he did not authorise his name appearing in that signatory list, and I will return to that. Also around that time he appeared at an event under the banner of Mouhajiroun in Trafalgar Square in London. He doesn't deny his appearance here, but then that would be quite hard. He calls non-Muslims kuffar, i.e. non-believers, by way of drawing a very clear line between his own kind and the rest of us.
So the struggle between Islam and kufr started from the time of the revelation to the Prophet ﷺ. The struggle between Islam and kufr has continued from that time.
Then some talk about following the Prophet to be successful, and then we get these charming comments which hit the papers quite a long time afterwards.
And the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba, when they were calling to Islam the people that were in the Mecca, and the Prophet ﷺ said, by Allah, I will continue calling them until Islam becomes dominant or until they kill me. And that, for us, brothers and sisters, is the example that we have to follow, because we live in a world where there is oppression.
The big boss man said, I will continue to call my adherents until Islam reigns supreme or until I die a martyr to the cause. And we, good people, must do the same.
By Allah, I will continue calling them until Islam becomes dominant or until they kill me. And that, for us, brothers and sisters, is the example that we have to follow.
So he's calling for fight to the death for the supremacy of Islam. Did I mention this was in Trafalgar Square? And did I also mention that this was the brother-in-law of Sadiq Khan, as in married to Sadiq's sister? The Church of St. Martin in the Fields comes in for some castigating. Apparently we plotted to bring down the Muslims there or thereabouts.
The forces of darkness gathered and they came to fight the Muslims. They sent crusade after crusade. They sent women, they sent children, and in that church there, St. Martin's in the Field, they gathered to fight against Islam.
This next short bit is clearly a call for Islamic law in the UK.
The Islamic State was a system built on the Sharia, built on the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, built on the laws of our Creator, because man-made laws means it is made by man who is weak, limited and needy. Our Creator knows what kind of system we require.
The crowd cannot hold in their excitement after this, but the pigeons have other ideas while they're screaming away, and they beat an entertaining retreat when he picks up again and describes the killing machines of the West. Even the pigeons can't stand him.
The Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the glory.
Takbir! Takbir! Takbir!
So the killing machine of the West came to Islam.
So he spits in the face of the society that hosts him, and he encourages his listeners to die for the cause of establishing an Islamic state with Islamic laws in the West at an Al-Mouhajiroun event in Trafalgar Square. Like I said, he denies being a signatory to this fatwa. Nothing wrong with that. The fact that you appear at an event organised by a particular Islamic group doesn't mean that you're forever condemned to being associated with everything they do. But if you don't want the problem of being associated in some future format with that group, as in, for example, being a signatory to a fatwa that declares war against your own government, there is an easy solution. Don't have anything to do with them in the first place. And if you do decide to have something to do with them, then expect that things might go wrong at some point. As in, expect that things might go wrong. I spoke at an Islamic event about bringing Islamic law to the UK and encouraging people to martyr themselves for Islam, and it went wrong. Well, what a shock. He had this to say after the video came to light. For his part, Javed dismisses Khan as a little short ass. He adds he is a cold, calculating politician who wants to get on. I have mixed with politicians all my life. They are single-minded and ambitious and will do whatever it takes to get what they want. Older and wiser now, Javed is nothing if not direct in his condemnation of extremism. ISIS are murderous barbarians and an abomination that is not going to last. As a Muslim, they would kill me sooner than anyone else, he says. I don't have a beard, I am not devout in any way, I have cigarettes, I'm an Arsenal fan, I would be killed. All fair enough now, but back then, when Sadiq was his brother-in-law, he was very devout indeed. And it's hardly the first time that Sadiq Khan has surrounded himself with dodgy types. This is he appearing alongside a bunch of nutters at the Tooting Islamic Centre in 2004, and in 2016 while he was on the mayoral electoral campaign trail talking about other 2004 events. Goldsmith said last week that it was just weird that in 2004 Khan spoke up for Yusuf al-Qaradawi, an Egyptian Islamic scholar associated with the Muslim Brotherhood. Khan at the time was chairman of the Legal Affairs Committee of the Muslim Council of Britain. David Winnick, a member of the Home Affairs Select Committee, asked him then why Britain would want someone like Qaradawi, who had said, "Oh Allah, deal with your enemies, the enemies of Islam. Oh Allah, deal with the usurpers and the oppressors and the tyrannical Jews. Oh Allah, deal with the plotters and rancorous crusaders." Khan replied, "I cannot comment on the specific quote you have given, but there is a consensus among Islamic scholars that Mr. al-Qaradawi is not the extremist that he is painted as being by selective quotations from his remarks." Devout Islamic brother-in-law, and surrounds himself with and speaks on behalf of the devout of his ideology. Does this make Sadiq Khan a secret hardliner? Hard to know, and probably not. But when aggressive Islamic marches hit the streets in London, his police force is totally absent. And when non-Muslims are out and about also being a bit aggressive, but not much more than that, they're there in force and they let the punches fly. Sadiq Khan, for all his stated moderateness, does seem to have a preference, shall we say.
By Allah, I will continue calling them until Islam becomes dominant or until they kill me. And that, for us, brothers and sisters, is the example that we have to follow. Takbir! Allah! Takbir! Allah!